Bible end times prophecy about the Dead Sea is finally happening, and Christians are shocked. What is the Bible prophecy occurring at the Dead Sea? And what does it mean? Although it may look like an ordinary body of water, it is not. For centuries, the Dead Sea has stood as a symbol of desolation, a place so salty and barren that no life could survive in its waters. But now, something extraordinary is happening. Strange new life has emerged in its depths, and the changes in the landscape are sparking awe and questions across the globe. Could this transformation be the fulfillment of ancient biblical prophecy? Are we witnessing a miracle meant for our time? What particular prophecies did the Bible give? Some people who have traveled to the Dead Sea have noted that it is the strangest lake that they have ever seen. Located in the heart of the Middle East, the Dead Sea is more than just a natural wonder. It's a place of history, mystery, and biblical significance. Although many locations from the Bible times might be lost, the lake still stands in its original location. It is flanked by Israel to the west and Jordan to the east. Another interesting fact is that the Dead Sea has the lowest elevation and is the lowest body of water on the surface of Earth. And thousands of years ago, a prediction was made about this lake. It was a prediction that seemed impossible until now. You see, the Dead Sea has a limitation. It is not able to sustain life. This is the truth that has been confirmed for centuries. Its only use in the ancient times was salt. There were no hopes of fishing or farming when it came to this lake, but recently this all changed. The river was always inhabitable, as the water here is almost 10 times saltier than the ocean. It's so dense with minerals that you can literally float without even trying. But this extreme saltiness also makes it nearly impossible for most forms of life to survive. That's why it's called the Dead Sea. But now things are changing. Over the past several decades, the Dead Sea has been shrinking at an alarming rate. Its water levels have dropped dramatically. It's hard to look at this and not feel a sense of wonder. In the midst of one of the harshest environments on Earth, life is beginning to emerge. Many believe that the Dead Sea truly became dead and sick after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities judged for their wickedness, a barren wasteland, a haunting testament to divine judgment. But did God promise to heal this river? And that's what makes what's happening here so incredible. For centuries, the Dead Sea was seen as a symbol of desolation. But now, life is beginning to reappear. And for many Christians, this isn't just a scientific anomaly. It's a sign of something much greater. There was a man that saw this happening centuries ago, and his name was Ezekiel. When God summoned Ezekiel to be a prophet, he was a young priest living as an exile in Babylon. This was a major change. A priest's responsibility was to go before God on behalf of the people. Priests have a difficult but relatively simple job. Prophets had a considerably more challenging task. A prophet went to the people on behalf of God. His responsibility was to say, "Thus says the Lord." As a prophet stood before the people and declared God's judgments, he also had to show that what God was doing was righteous and just. His goal was to encourage the people and offer them a message of hope if they were prepared to listen to his word from the Lord. This was the task God assigned to Ezekiel. Ezekiel saw visions of God, and the word of the Lord came directly to him. What he saw was astounding. Ezekiel was taken to Jerusalem in a vision. It is almost the last prophecy dated, and many years after the fall of Jerusalem. Ezekiel insisted the source of this extended prophecy was God. Yahweh was the source of the minute and sometimes strange detail of this prophecy. And on this vision, he had a mysterious guide. a man whose appearance was like the appearance of bronze. Can you even imagine that figure? There is a particular theory on who exactly this was, but for now, let us go back to the vision. The man said to me, "Son of man, look with your eyes, and hear with your ears, and fix your mind on everything I show you. For you were brought here, so that I might show them to you. Declare to the house of Israel everything you see." Led to the door of the temple, Ezekiel saw something that never existed in the temple before, a river flowing directly from the temple. Then he, my guide, brought me back to the door of the house. And behold, water was flowing from under the threshold of the house, temple, toward the east. For the front of the temple was facing east, and the water was flowing down from under, from the right side of the house, from south of the altar. Then he brought me out by way of the north gate, and led me around on the outside to the outer gate by the way of the gate that faces east. And behold, water was spurting out from the south side of the gate. When the man went out toward the east with a measuring line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he led me through the water that was ankle deep. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and led me through the water that was knee-deep. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and led me through the water reaching the hips. Again he measured 1,000 cubits, and it was a river that I could not pass through, for the water had risen, enough water to swim in, a river that could not be crossed by wading. And he said to me, "Son of man, have you seen this?" Then he brought me back to the bank of the river. Now, when I had returned, behold, on the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then he said to me, "These waters go out toward the eastern region and go down into the Arabah, the Jordan Valley. Then they go toward the sea, being made to flow into the sea, and the waters of the Dead Sea shall be healed and become fresh. It will come about that every living creature which swarms in every place where the river goes will live. And there will be a very great number of fish, because these waters go there so that the waters of the sea are healed and become fresh. So everything will live wherever the river goes. And it will come about that fishermen will stand beside it, at the banks of the Dead Sea. From En-Gedi to Eneglaim, there will be dry places to spread nets. Their fish will be of very many kinds, like the fish of the great Mediterranean Sea. But its swamps and marshes will not become fresh and wholesome for animal life. They will, as the river subsides, be left encrusted with salt. By the river on its bank, on one side and on the other, will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. They shall bear every month because their water flows from the sanctuary, and their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing." In all of its history, Jerusalem never had a big, strong river like this. There were small streams and springs, but never a powerful, flowing river, especially not from this part of the city. In Israel's dry and dusty land, a river like this would be both a huge blessing and a miracle. It would bring life, growth, energy, refreshment, hope, and safety. The Bible says that at first, the water came out very slowly. It didn't gush or pour, it dripped out little by little. It started so small that it only came out drop by drop. But as it flowed, it grew bigger and stronger. Ezekiel followed the river with his guide. They walked about 1/3 of a mile, or half a kilometer, from where the river seemed to start, probably at the temple. Ezekiel didn't just watch the river, he went into the water with his guide, This wasn't just something for him to look at or think about. It was something for him to experience and be part of. We see that the water first came up to Ezekiel's ankles, then to his knees, and then to his waist. As they went farther, the river got deeper each time. Ezekiel didn't force himself into the water. He experienced it exactly as it was. The waters of this river are said to have been miraculously healed. At the time, this vision must have seemed impossible. The Dead Sea was, and still is, one of the harshest environments on Earth. What's happening here has left scientists and believers alike in awe. Is this simply nature adapting in unexpected ways? Or is it a tangible sign of prophecy coming to life before our eyes? Ezekiel's vision wasn't just about geography. It was about God's power to restore and renew. The Dead Sea represents more than a body of water. It symbolizes hopelessness, desolation, and the consequences of sin. But God's promise is that even the most lifeless places can be made new. One of the most striking modern discoveries came from Samantha Siegel, a Jerusalem resident who spotted fish swimming in a freshwater pool along the Dead Sea's edge. For her, this was more than just a scientific oddity. It was a deeply spiritual moment, a living testament to the prophecies she grew up reading. A woman reported, "When I saw those fish, I couldn't believe my eyes. This is the Dead Sea. It's not supposed to have life." But there they were, swimming and thriving. It felt like I was standing in the middle of a prophecy coming true. Even more astonishing, she also saw ducks nesting near these freshwater pools. Another sign of life returning to a place long thought dead. For her and many others, these moments aren't just coincidences. They're glimpses of God's hand at work. Whatever the explanation, the parallels to Ezekiel's prophecy are impossible to ignore. A sea once thought dead is slowly coming alive, and it's happening in ways no one expected. Is this the fulfillment of God's promise? Or is it just the beginning of something even greater? Birds, too, have found a home here. Their presence suggests that the transformation of this region isn't just limited to the water. It's reshaping the entire ecosystem. Migratory birds now stop here, drawn by the unexpected abundance of food and water. Even the barren soil surrounding these sinkholes is beginning to change. Plants are taking root, creating patches of greenery in an otherwise stark landscape. These small oases stand in stark contrast to the surrounding salt flats, almost as if nature is reclaiming what was once thought lost. Think about this. Ezekiel's prophecy was written over 2,500 years ago. Yet he described a vision of fishermen casting their nets and catching an abundance of fish here. Today, we're seeing the beginnings of that vision come to life. Fishermen haven't fully returned to the Dead Sea yet, but signs of their eventual presence are undeniable. Small fish, plants, and birds are reclaiming this space, just as the Bible foretold. It's a breathtaking reminder of God's power to bring life where there was none. But is this purely a natural process? Or is this part of a larger divine plan? Many believers see these changes not as coincidence, but as a fulfillment of prophecy, a tangible sign that God's promises are unfolding in real time. Zechariah's words echo a similar theme. He speaks of living water flowing from Jerusalem, healing the Dead Sea, and making it a place of abundance. These prophecies were written in a time when such a transformation seemed impossible. Yet today, we are witnessing changes that mirror their descriptions. A local resident noted, "I've lived near the Dead Sea my whole life, and I never thought I'd see fish swimming here or plants growing along its shores. It feels like something bigger is happening. like a promise from God is being fulfilled before our eyes. Ezekiel's vision reminds us that no place is too desolate, no situation too hopeless for God to restore. The changes we're seeing in the Dead Sea are a powerful reminder that His promises are true and His plans are unfolding in ways we may not fully understand. So, what do these changes mean for us today? Are they a message from God, a reminder of His faithfulness, or are they a call to prepare for something greater? The answers may not be clear, but one thing is certain. The Dead Sea's transformation is a story of hope, renewal, and the fulfillment of promises that go far beyond what we can see.